love them enough to let go.
As you're going
Yeah.
through the pain, if you can just keep saying, oh, my fantasy is really hurting. My fantasy is
I love
destroyed.
that.
You're not dying, the fantasy is dying. Your inner essence never dies.
Yeah.
But all your externals can die. And you have to let go. And that's what we resist. Most of us love the idea of being desired and being adored, being needed. And if the minute that person stops adoring you, you're like, F you, right?
So what is that then? Is that real love?
Total bullshit love, right? It's attachment.
It takes so much courage
Yes.
to do that when nothing is fundamentally like wrong.
No woman has just waltzed out of her marriage. She is actually saying, I'm a wilted weed, and you don't want to be with the wilted weed. And I will wilt you. We live in hell, but we don't want to accept that it's hell. Because to look in the mirror and go, this is not working, is so scary.
But
Enter
it's the known hell,
it's
right?
the known hell. And paradoxically, even though this is hell, we won't walk down the tunnel to another horizon.
Today I have a very special guest, Dr. Shefali, who is one of the most inspiring humans, for me anyways, but also an international speaker, bestseller of many incredible books that I've enjoyed reading myself, and also a clinical psychologist. Dr. Shefali, thank you so much for being here today.
Oh my goodness, thank you for having me.
Such an honor. When I told my mom today, I'm interviewing you, she's like, can I come too? I'm like, Mom, we have to do this like one-on-one, but maybe after. But you have become really a world-known inspiration who created multiple movements. I mean, from conscious parenting to radical awakening. I am so curious to hear about your personal journey of how you evolved from that journey to this journey where you are now.
Well, I think they're kind of connected. So I'm known a lot in conscious parenting, which at its core is about shedding our false ideas of who we are and stepping into our greatest power, inner power, and our true limitlessness. And once we do that, we can recognize that same limitlessness in our children. We cannot recognize our children's power if we don't honor our own. So connected to that is how we awaken. So then I wrote a book called A Radical Awakening, which is really about us opening up to our inner governance, our inner authority, really learning to listen to our inner voices, especially for us women who've been so subjugated by this idea that who we are is how other people see us, right? And so in A Radical Awakening, in that book, I helped women reclaim their inner voice and really see themselves in their truth. So it's kind of connected.
Absolutely.
And the only way we will allow our children to be in their truth is if we allow our truth to be sanctimonious and sacred within ourselves, right? If we're not connected to our own power and we don't treat it like a treasure, we won't honor our children's inner treasure.
So it all starts with that inner work.
Yes.
How did that journey begin for you?
In my early 20s, I went on a quest to discover who I was. And if you ask, well, how does one go on a quest, right? What do we do before? So I think people go on a quest in two ways. The way I went was the first way, which is through just my own desire to understand human nature. So it actually did not come out of pain, which is the second way most people get into wisdom, is through pain. So you either do it willingly and voluntarily, like I did, or you do it through a whole lot of pain. But even when I did it willingly, only pain actually at the end of the day really brought me to the final reckoning of, do I want to live in falsity, in hunger for other people's approval, or do I want to truly tap into my own wisdom and live this one life in my greatest authenticity? So even though I began curious and as a seeker and no one took me there, even then I had to allow pain to finally take me over. Because when we're at a rock bottom moment, it's then that we have the opportunity to realize that our ego masks that we've been wearing just don't work anymore, right? So we need pain to disrupt that ego cycle. So pain is such a wonderful teacher, even though it's so damn painful, right?
No, we can all relate to that. I'm sure a lot of you guys watching or listening to this, for some reason, it has to come to the rock bottom oftentimes, where we stop, we reflect, we listen, we connect to that inner intuition or inner guidance. And then we open up to something new and different if we are radically honest with ourselves. And I feel like with everything you do and say, there's just so many tabs that we could just unpack. And I'm so excited to have you here. But obviously we don't have hours and hours. So I'm like trying to decide where do I even put the focus. But I think ultimately, like you said, whether it is with parenting or our own journey in relationship to other people, it all starts with that journey within. So for someone who is just at the beginning of this journey, where they're realizing a lot of what they're doing is just acting out on the conditioning that we've all been given by society, parents. And they're just discovering what is me, what is that inner truth, and how can I learn to be radically honest with myself? What are some ways they can build that relationship with that inner guidance, intuition, whatever you want to call it?
Well, the initial impetus to change has to come from some kind of kindling of your own awareness, right? People always say, how do we start being aware? Well, I can't tell somebody, you can't tell a man on the street, hey, you're not aware. They have to feel the pain of their dysfunction enough to then make a choice. Do I want to stay stuck, stagnant, dysfunctional in this toxic relationship with alcohol or food or with this person? Or is it too painful now that I must try a new way? So many times a woman may come to me and she's stuck in an abusive relationship, but every time I offer her a way out, she makes an excuse to stay. That indicates that it's painful, but not yet painful enough. So I always tell women like that or men like that, you know what, come back to me when there's more pain, because right now you're just complaining, but the pain isn't painful enough. When the pain is painful enough, and that's why people on their deathbed will often say, damn, I get it now. So we don't want to wait for that physical deathbed. We want the ego to die before our physical death. But again, the person has to have a kindling that allows them to appreciate that they are in hell. They have to be brutally honest with themselves that this is hell. It's so funny. We live in hell, but we don't want to accept that it's hell because we're afraid of that truth. Because to look in the mirror and go, this is not working, is so scary, because the next question, which is, who will I be then, is too scary. That unknown is too scary. So we don't want to enter the tunnel, even though we're in darkness. It is already the gutter of hell, but we don't want to enter
the known hell, right?
It's the known hell. And the tunnel, we know, once we start entering the tunnel, there's another horizon. And paradoxically, even though this is hell, we won't walk down the tunnel to another horizon. But again, I've learned as a therapist to appreciate the stagnation. It's okay to not want to change. Because if you fake change it, like people say, fake it till you make it, you'll just fake change it. So it won't be sustainable. So I'd rather you be I'd rather wait for more misery to occur for a true awakening than a fake awakening. And this is really, this ethos of fake it till you make it is really what we see in politics, for example. Like we have two terrible candidates and we then decide who's the slightly better one. But that's faking it till you make it, right? Sometimes we need the really shitty candidate to wake us up. So that's what happened with BLM, right? It was so explicitly, violently abhorrent that finally we woke up a little bit. And what's happening right now in the Middle East, maybe there will be some turning point, because as I said, we only wake up with a lot of pain. The pain has to be so painful for us to get out of our comfort zone. And that's the sadness, because actually we could wake up quite easily, but we don't. We resist that.
How can we break that narrative?
It's not going to, it's impossible. I'll tell you why. And that's why I do conscious parenting. Because when our children are young and they're sponges, if you give them the effed up unconscious indoctrination, then if it's racism or ageism or sexism or whatever, lack of worth, it's very hard to ask that child who grows up to be a 50-year-old to change it. We on the outside can say, why can't they just stop being racist? Well, because the first 7 years when they were the most influenceable, they absorbed it. And now you're telling the fish to not feel wet. It's all they know. So
that subconscious mind, right? That takes over.
Yes. So part of being conscious is to recognize the plague of unconsciousness with compassion in others. Because the trap of becoming conscious is that you begin to judge others, right? I've done it. I just did it 5 minutes ago, right? Probably. Like,
the shadow self.
What's wrong with these British people? There's so much traffic, or some rubbish I said, right? Yeah. Thinking I'm superior. That's unconsciousness. So conscious people or people who are seekers actually can become quite superior and judgmental, because now that we've seen the truth, we want others to see the truth, but we have no right to dictate how others are. We only have a right to move away or make a boundary or, have compassion. But, fighting, thinking you're right, but you're fighting and spilling blood on the other just makes you as wrong.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, sometimes it's good to fight. Sometimes you need to fight. But you have to really be careful about when that is and how you do it. You cannot do it just out of a superior attitude, because then you're just creating more ignorance.
You know what I love about you and your work is that you own your shadow self. I've listened to many of your interviews where you don't pretend to be this perfect parent or this perfect woman or girlfriend or any roles that we get to play. You kind of expose your shadows, and I think that can be so empowering because it's only when we can own our shadows we can be fully secure, I believe. How did you get to this point in your life where you are so comfortable in owning your shadows? Because I think a lot of us are on the journey of, like, I feel like myself, it's been a beautiful journey where I can feel that as I own more of my shadows, I become more like easygoing and comfortable and more relaxed. And so I can feel like you've been on that journey for a while.
A little bit, and it's not that we're perfect, right? So owning the shadow means owning things like, I'm really insecure right now, or I'm really embarrassed right now, or I did such a effed up thing yesterday, let me tell you. But there's a fine line between self-absorption in that shadow versus compassion and accountability, right? So sometimes people will own their shadow, but they're actually just, taking all the spotlight and just being...
Again, it comes from the ego.
Ego, Oh, let me tell you about all my mistakes or all the shit that I've gone through. No, that's not how you own your shadow. You own your shadow in a matter-of-fact, neutral, compassionate, but also boundaried way. I am insecure. Boom, done. Right? There's nothing positive about it, nothing negative. It just is who we are, and to accept our limitations, right? So if we're brutally honest with ourselves, all of us are kind of average. We may have a few talents. Somebody can cook a great chocolate cake. Somebody can run a sprint. Fantastic, amazing, right? But that doesn't make them superlative. It doesn't make them superior. So I think we're scared to own our limitations. So similarly, parents will come to me and they'll tell me how they encourage their children. And they'll encourage their children by saying to their children, you can do anything you want. And while that's well-meaning, it's actually not true. No, I, for example, can't even sing happy birthday. So no, if I as a 5-year-old go to my mother and I say, mommy, I didn't get chosen to be in the choir, and my mother says, oh, you can be Adele one day, she's lying. She can tell me instead, it's okay, you're not a great singer, you can't be great at everything. Do what comes and be a singer, but you may not be chosen in the choir, right? Just be real about your limitations. It's this fixation on wanting to be, like, to encourage everyone in a dysfunctional positive way, that it actually becomes toxic positivity, right? It's okay to say I'm average in something, you know. It's okay to say my kid is actually not great at math, instead of going, no, my kid can work hard enough and then they'll be good. No, they don't like math. It's okay. Why are we pretending we need to be perfect at everything? What a relief it is to go, you know what? I'm never going to be, I'm not interested in math. I'm never going to be a mathematician. I'd rather focus on what I like, right? So I think we have this false idea of perfection. So that's what I'm trying to let go in my own life. But it doesn't mean I'm a perfectly secure person, you know.
That you're there yet.
I'm just in it, you know, and I'm not afraid to be in it because I'm not trying to be not in it. You know, everyone's trying to not be in it, you know. And I'm like, no, I'm in it. You know, if I wear lip gloss, it's because I'm feeling insecure and I think it'll make me look better. And I'm honest to myself
but I'm
that
still
I
gonna
want
wear
to
lip
look
gloss.
better. That I want to look better. I'm not going to act like I woke up naturally with glossy lips, you see. So I allow myself to want to be better and to own the insecurity that is motivating that. It's okay to
Please
just
keep
say
doing that, because I find that on the other side very empowering and also healing in a way. To see someone accept them in that way feels very somehow very comforting on the other side, where we can do the same.
You're right, but see the difference. It's not me saying, "Oh, I don't need to wear lipstick. I'm so confident." I'm like, no, I'm terrifically not confident that I love wearing lip gloss. You see the difference?
Absolutely.
It's not pretending to not have something.
And to be better.
And to
like,
be, I'm superior.
You know, I don't eat meat now. I'm better than the rest. And again, I'm not trying to point anyone out. This is just an example.
I'm so spiritual. I meditate so much.
Spiritual ego is the worst.
Yes, that's the worst ego. I can't stand it, you know. And every time I get caught up in my own spiritual ego, I undermine it, you know. So if people pedestalize me, I'll quickly tell them, you know, they're foolish, because don't do that, because that's a trip, right?
Exactly.
And if I allow it, I'm full of shit, right? If I allow you to idolize me, I'm lying to you. I'm letting you go on some imagination that I'm this fantastic person, and I'm not. No, and that's just the truth.
But that makes people love you even more, because you're
maybe,
real.
but that's on them,
right?
But I've told them who I am. But I'm not going to pretend that I am who they fantasize I am. I'll burst the bubble fast. The bubbles make me uncomfortable, you know.
Completely agree with you. I can resonate with that.
And when I see people idolizing me, it genuinely makes me cringe, you know. Because when you idolize someone, you give up your power, and you believe that that other person holds the quality that you wish you had. And I'm here to tell them, no, you don't wish you had this quality. You need to have the qualities you have, right? So it's breaking that dreamlike reverie that people give to people on stage, right?
Absolutely. This unattainable perfection, again going back to perfection that you mentioned, that we have an all different ideal of perfection that was brainwashed into us, especially women. I mean, man or woman, but again, woman is a whole other thing. And it's unattainable. All of it is. Whether it's staying eternally young, or being the perfect mom, or the wife, or all these hats we get to wear.
Doesn't exist, you know. It absolutely doesn't exist.
Exactly. Can we talk about love again, for the sake of time? There's so many things I want to talk to you about, but I think I really appreciate how you talk about love, and how I remember you saying something that most people are in attachment and not love. And I've been going through a personal journey of also like rediscovering, what does love mean to me? How do I experience love to a romantic partner? Am I actually loving unconditionally? So can we go a little bit into that topic?
So yes, I don't think 99% of us know how to love unconditionally, and that's okay. That's part of being a human. But let's own it. You know, most of us love being loved. Most of us love the idea of being desired and being adored, being needed. And if the minute that person stops adoring you, you're like, F you, right?
So what is that then? Is that real love?
Total bullshit love, right? It's attachment. But that's okay. We can have compassion because that's human love. That's human love for you, right? Now, we do strive to love unconditionally, and that's the beautiful part of us. But let's not pretend unconditional love is so easily attainable or manifested. It is one of the most difficult things.
Do you think it's possible in romantic relationships?
Oh, it's virtually impossible. As long as the person is in your little box of your fantasy, it's very possible. But the minute they rebel or become someone you don't want them to become, the other day I was with a woman and she said, damn, my husband just adopted a religion. We've been married 20 years. Now he's become a Jehovah's Witness. And she's like, I don't want to be with him anymore. So
can you still love him?
Can you still love him though? And she was struggling. Like he literally became a different person because she was attached to her idea of him. And the reason we don't love other people is because we ourselves are an idea to ourselves. We don't even love ourselves. We don't even know ourselves. We are an idea to ourselves. We are pretending to ourselves. We are attached to how we look to others. We are attached to how we show up as others. We are attached to our title, our achievements, our competencies, all external. We're not okay being ourselves, simple and ordinary and limited, average. And because we don't unconditionally accept ourselves, really we don't, we can't even pretend to talk about somebody else. It's just rubbish. So better to get married and just say, listen, let's play house. I want to pretend. And let's pretend we love each other forever and ever. Can you imagine? And we just agree to pretend and strive and promise each other to try our best to be kind. That's, I think, an honest,
more realistic,
honest, beautiful affirmation and declaration of true love. But don't pretend you love the person unconditionally, because the moment the person loves somebody else, you dump them. You don't like them as much. It takes a lot to accept that person when they don't love you anymore, and or they go against your idea, right? Even with our children. We're constantly tweaking them.
Especially with our children.
I think more with our partners, though.
Yeah, you think more with the partners?
I think both.
Yeah.
With our children, you see, we do all the subconscious indoctrination in their sleep when they're young. So we are tweaking them without anyone even knowing. So you're right. In a way, it's more toxic and dangerous and subconscious, because no one is going to tell the parent you're doing anything wrong. But in an adult relationship, the partner can protest.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So it becomes more
obvious.
Yeah. So you're called on your crap faster. So they both, we try in every way. Wherever we can try to control someone, we're going to try. If they're innocent and naive and gullible, we're going to try. So we want to have a strong-willed child who says, no, you will not boss me over. And you want to have a partner who says, don't control me. I'm not going to be a puppet. I'm not going to be culture's puppet. And you're like, can you please be culture's puppet? Everybody has a puppet. I want a puppet. And that person is going to awaken you, but you're not going to like the process.
I can so resonate with this. It's crazy.
I know you can.
And, as we talk about love and relationships, something you've said that I resonate with again as I go through my personal journey. I've been in a marriage for almost 14 years with Alex, my also co-founder of Intelligent Change. And, we recently separated in September last year. And, from the outside, maybe we did have a perfect marriage, I would say, for like those years that we were together. But even now, as I decided to separate, to a lot of people, it didn't make sense. Because back in the olden days, like you only leave your husband if like he's beating you or he's an alcoholic. And it's like, but why would you leave a Prince Charming? And it's like, yeah, but what if it no longer feels right? And what I really appreciate in your work, like I don't feel like, let's say us like deciding to separate is a failure. Because I think we had successful 16 years together, out of which we were married for almost 14. And, while it was successful, it was great. But now that it no longer feels right, we need to part our ways, but it takes so much courage to do that when nothing is fundamentally like wrong, where the person is like being toxic with you, or like we still have beautiful friendship and we love each other, but it's just not romantic anymore, right? At least from my side. And if I don't honor that, I'm again living in a lie.
Yes.
And something you said I really loved, because I was even trying to explain it to Alex, because I think we have slightly maybe different understanding of what a long-term relationship is. And we had this conversation recently where I was explaining to him that the reason it was important for me to now go on my own journey is because at the end of the day, yes, we come together, we can be in a relationship, but ultimately we're all on our own personal journey of growth. And I heard you say this in an interview, it's not the longevity, it's the growth. Can you elaborate on that? Because I've never heard anyone speak with it with the same resonance and clarity. I literally tried to explain it to him, but we never finished the conversation. We still have to, but maybe you can help me. Like, clearly you have gone through that experience, probably in your own experience. When you left, I think you were together for 25 years, correct me if I'm wrong. So I'm curious, I don't know the full story of why you decided to. Was it also something that was instigated by you as well?
Yes.
To end the relationship? Oftentimes it's women, apparently.
Right.
And yeah, can you please share more? Because I feel like maybe I'll find some more answers of as I go through my journey.
Yes, so there's two layers to what I'm going to say. So the first layer is on a cultural level. We have lied to ourselves that we can control life. Okay, so one of the ways we control life is we pray to a God, and we think that that's going to control life, or the sickness or the unpredictability, right? If there's a tornado, we pray to God, right? That's our illusion of control. Another way we've controlled life is by controlling love and people. And we do that through the institution of marriage. And we have now put God into it, so now you're really screwed, right? Now it's become a divine system in a church, right? Or a place of worship by a holy person, right? We really like sealing the deal, right? Really like sticking the two people together. You're stuck together in this institution, and then we also create it legally. So now you're really...
You sign a contract.
You signed a contract. I remember when I got a divorce, I couldn't believe that some strange judge, who the hell knows who the hell he or she was going to dictate my life, right? But this is the institution. It's an institution. We've taken the formless energy of love and we've put it into a box, and we've said, these are the rules, right? And one of the rules is it is forever, right? Oh my goodness, right? I'm 25, but I'm going to predict what I'm going to feel like at 65. Number one. Number two, you will only connect with me in a sexual way, right? Even emotional, right? We don't even like our partners to be emotionally close with the opposite if they're straight or whatever, you know. And so we are prescribing love. We're prescribing connection. And we do that to take away the uncertainty of life, to take away the unpredictability, because we want control. We do that with our children. We do that through the education. We keep doing it, right? So that's the big level, the macro level of what we're talking about. And so longevity is prescribed as the green light, the gold standard. Yeah. But it's all it's made up. It's not true. It is not true. It's an institution with its rules, and you've just bought into it. Now, the other part of it is that on an individual level, we have to follow what feels true to us. So if you are sexually not connected, but you're faking it, you not only do yourself harm, you're actually stunting the growth of the other.
100%.
They may not realize it because they would rather a body disconnected to its soul, but they don't realize how amazing it is to have a body with its soul. And when one wakes up and decides that it's not good for them, by that fact, it's not good for the other. Now, the other one will say, no, it was good for me. You're the one leaving. But the fact that it's not good for one means it will not be good for the other. So you are actually serving the highest calling to both, even though the person leaving technically is, quote unquote, labeled as the defector. But no, they are actually in service of the truth for both. they just are given the label of the rebellious one, or the whatever, the defected one, the defector,
or the one who gave up, right?
Or the
didn't
one
work
who just,
harder,
or didn't work harder, right? Well, no divorced person has just, waltzed out of their marriage, right? We women especially know what a toll it takes on us to take that step. It is the most hellish thing we will do, because we particularly have been indoctrinated to stick it out, to compromise, to give in the service of our children and our partners. I mean, this is our indoctrination. So for us to leave a marriage means we are really not in our truth if we stayed. It takes a toll. No woman has just waltzed out of her marriage. No man either, but definitely no woman. And so when a woman walks out, I bow down and I become silent, because I know what it took for me to do that. And I applaud that woman, because I know she is actually saying, help me to become my best self so that I can help you to be your best self. She's not doing it because she's a bitch, or she's capricious, or she's just moody. Man, it takes so much for the woman to raise the standard of honesty in the relationship, and to tell the partner, I don't serve your best, highest self. I'm actually doing you a favor. Even though you feel like I'm hurting you, I understand it's painful, because change is painful. But I am telling you, I am not a blossomed flower. I'm a wilted weed. And you don't want to be with a wilted weed.
Yeah.
And I will wilt you. Eventually you will wilt too, because I'm wilted. And actually the person who leaves is our greatest awakener, because they have awakened to their own inauthenticity. So the minute somebody around us awakens to their own inauthenticity and begins to heal, without our realization, we begin to heal. So we have to thank that person for taking that step. When I got a divorce, I was mortified. I'm an Indian woman. We don't do this shit, okay? How dare I? And I paid an emotional price, and I'm still paying it. And it was a price I was willing to pay, because at least it was a price of bloodshed on the path of alignment versus bloodshed on a path of misalignment. If I'm going to shed the blood, I'd rather shed it on the thorns.
So beautifully articulated.
You know what? I'm shedding blood. We're all shedding the blood.
Yeah,
so do I want to do it at least on the path to redemption and truth? Or do I want to just do it and spiral in the gutter of dysfunction? And it does come with a price, and life is messy. But if you accept that, you will be okay. If you're not avoiding mess, and if you're not avoiding pain, you will actually catapult into liberation faster than those of us who try to become, rigid in perfectionism or in how it looks to the world, which is, I would say, 85% of long-term relationships are calcified in stagnation. And I didn't want to be calcified in stagnation. I'm not afraid of change, but people are afraid of change.
Yeah.
And actually we stay because they're afraid, right? So that's why one brave person who is not afraid of change catapults other people. So that's why I wrote my book, A Radical Awakening, even though it was vulnerable for me to do that, to allow other people to break through the illusion of perfection.
What if the other partner believes that you can go through the growth together? Like, why do you need to leave the relationship to grow? Can we grow together in the relationship?
Yeah.
How do you understand it from your personal journey if you were faced with that? Like, how do we articulate to the other partner, of course, who is hurting, who is maybe afraid to get out of the comfort zone of the relationship?
Yes.
Why? Like, I feel like I understand why it needs to be it sometimes it just has to be an individual journey.
Right.
It cannot be done.
But here's the thing. When we enter a marriage, we have this false idea that now we are merged into one unit. There is a oneness, but it's not an enmeshment. So sometimes we grow together, and sometimes we have to grow solo. And when you enter a long-term seeming contract or a commitment, you have to accept that the other person has a right to want to live alone, breathe alone, poop alone, love alone, sex alone, whatever. You cannot bind them to you just
we
because
don't own the other
you don't
person.
own the way they choose to process who they are. It is painful, and you have to go through the grief of that fantasy ending. But when you enter a relationship, you need to know that is going to happen any moment. And if it doesn't, It
Whether
could
you
happen
sign the
next,
contract or not, you
it
know.
could happen the next moment. So it's a fantasy, a childish fantasy to think, okay, now I married this person, now I own them and how they think and how they feel, and we should do it this way. No, you're taking a big risk. So take the risk. You see, marriage gives us the illusion that there's no risk. Oh my God, being with another human, just any human, your parents, living is the greatest risk. And we're trying to put band-aids and pretend there's no risk because we're just faking it. No, risk is, you and I could walk out and die. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah, but
right?
I live my life like that. I'm
It's a
hyper
risk.
aware of
right, it's a risk.
You know.
So now how are you going to live knowing that we are ultimately fragile? Are we going to live in the present moment, alive, awake, and in your heart? Or are we going to pretend, you know, if I buy a fortress and live in a mansion and buy 20 servants and have all the technology, are we going to pretend like that's going to keep us from death? Everything is going to die. And even your relationship, because somebody in the relationship will die anyway. So this illusion of certainty is what we're trying to achieve, which is going to work against us. Life is uncertain, people are unpredictable, nothing is guaranteed, everything is a bloody risk. Now, either you bubble wrap yourself and just stay in a basement, or you take the risk. But when you take the risk, don't blame the other because they were too risky for you. You could grow and choose to be as risky as well. But because one cannot grow enough to be risky, they blame the one who's taking the risk. The one who's taking the risk, even if it's into alcoholism, that's their choice. You can help them, but at the end of the day, it's their body and their life, right?
How do you view relationships now after you've gone through this journey? Like, what is your, I don't want to say ideal because nothing is ideal. But what is the model of a relationship that you believe is a healthy one for both parties?
Well, you know, it'll sound fabulous on paper, but it's really hard to do. So, you know, for me personally, I'm finished and done with the institution of marriage because I don't need it. I don't need it to feel
piece of
safe.
paper,
It doesn't make me feel safe. It doesn't tell me that the person is more committed to me, although it does to outside people. They want to see my ring. They want to know we're married. How come you're not married? Because I don't need this external seal of approval from strangers. But many people still do, and that's okay. So I, for certain, will not be with someone who wants to get married because that means their consciousness is still needing that, and I don't need
validation,
that. So there we're going to argue. And I think an ideal relationship has elements of freedom and honesty, which is very hard to stomach, and a brutal independence as well as a beautiful interdependence, but not an enmeshment, not a fusion. You know, I ultimately have to stand alone, but I can be in the same forest with you, right? But ultimately, I need to know I will stand alone and die alone. And if I can be okay with that, then I will allow the other person to be an individual, even if I don't like certain aspects, because it goes against my fantasy.
I remember also listening to one of your podcasts where you said that in your previous marriage, in your marriage, because there was only one, that you were enmeshed and codependent.
Yes.
You realized that after you left. And I had the same realization. While I was in the relationship, I don't think I was aware of that. But once you step out and you can see that the strong attachment you had, it's just plain and obvious. Now, I'm curious, for the next relationship, how do we avoid this enmeshment and codependency? Because sometimes it's just a blind spot. It happens as a matter of like falling in love with someone.
Well, we have to really watch ourselves and be connected to ourselves. And most of us are not only attached and codependent, we also have this blind air of superwoman, superman, that we will change the other. So I 100% lied to myself that I loved the other person unconditionally, because from day one I was trying to heal them. So I was actually the one who was the most, if I can blame the other person, I must first blame myself, because I too was not present. to the person as they were. I was on a mission to save them. So that was my deeper nuance.
So is that wrong to want to heal the person you're with?
Yes,
Why
because
is
that
it
means you're
wrong?
not accepting them for who they are. That means you don't love them as they are. That means you're looking at them as a project. So this is my profession, right? I'm a therapist. So I took this broken bird and I'm like, I'm going to fix you. Poor guy didn't want to be fixed. And I got pissed off with him that he didn't want my help. Everyone wants Dr. Shefali's help. Why? You're getting it for free. Take it. And he used to get super annoyed because he's like, stop being Dr. Shefali with me. I want to... And he was right. I was not right. I was being Dr. Shefali, not... I was constantly... Who wants to be constantly fixed and micromanaged? And even if it's the best wisdom in the world, you're going to throw tomatoes at the Buddha, right? If the Buddha kept and breathing down your neck. So I was like, but I'm giving you wisdom. And he was like, F off with your wisdom. You're trying to change me. And he was right.
And if he's not ready, then we have to respect
I
that.
tried so hard to do therapy. And I mean, can you imagine, poor chap? He had to live with a therapist. To live with me is ghastly. So once I owned that, then I was like, oh, okay. Then I don't even want to be with you because I can't fix you. Isn't that terrible? I'm making it simple and I'm laughing.
Yeah, but it's
of course
there's an important example.
But of course there's affection and attachment and deep caring. But is it unconditional love and unconditional acceptance? No. I have to own that about myself. So when I got a divorce, I wanted to play the victim card, like, to get people's pity and sympathy. But I tried not to. Even in my book, A Radical Awakening, I didn't go there. I so wanted to. Because I knew I had to own my shadow of trying to change someone. I was trying to change someone. That's a horrible thing to do to someone who's an adult. And I had to own my toxicity. And people don't want to own that. That I was a controlling person too. Right?
I love that you brought that up. I think so many people get in relationships out of seeing a potential in the person and believe that there's a magical wand, but there is also their own personal journey that they're on. And I think ultimately, again, can we challenge ourselves and ask ourselves if we're really in love? Because if we are, then we love them exactly as they are. And can then, if we're not compatible, because if they don't want to change, then you can't have a relationship because they're not playing by the same, playbook or rules or have the same values that you would have in a relationship. Can you love them enough to let go, which is the ultimate act of love. But it can be painful to the ego.
But it's only painful to the ego. So as you're going through the pain, if you can just keep saying, oh, my fantasy is really hurting. My fantasy is destroyed. Not my personhood, not my inner essence. No one can touch my essence. But damn, they destroyed my fantasy and I hate them right now. That's what's happening. You're not dying, the fantasy is dying. And people mistake that death for an inner death because they haven't developed that connection to themselves. Your inner essence never dies, but all your externals can die. And you have to let go. And that's what we resist, right?
Absolutely. Dr. Shefali, I feel like we could definitely talk for hours, but I just want to thank you so much for all the wisdom you have shared today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I feel like I will need to re-listen to this one and make some notes. You are such a bright light in this world. And having this in-person conversation and seeing you in person in general, like there's this beautiful light that you put out into the world through all the work that you do. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
I see you. I love you. And I'm so grateful. Please
grateful.
continue doing this work because the world needs it.
Thank you.